really thought I wasn't gonna be making this video, but here we are. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. I don't want this on. My name is Jennastreich, and today I'm going to be reviewing Teen Wolf the movie. Teen Wolf the movie. I didn't think I was gonna make this video because I wrote out a 10-page review, right? And then I was going to do it the Friday after I watched it because it came out on Thursday, January 26th, and I was going to film this video on the 27th. And then I was just like, no, I don't want to talk about it. So I decided to just forget about it. It doesn't exist. It's not real. Until I went to my DMs and I saw maybe like 6 or 7 people were like, we need your thoughts on this movie. Please give us your thoughts. Because I recently got letterboxd. I shared my ranking or whatever of it. 1.5 stars. Yeah, we're gonna dive right into this 10-page review that I have here. Okay, so I'm not even gonna go like, oh, I don't even know where to start, because I do. I know exactly where to start. But before I start talking about this movie, I need to give a little bit of backstory. I need to give a little bit of a background because that's the kind of person I am. Context, very important. So I started watching Teen Wolf in 2014, okay? Season 3 had ended, season 4 was just about to start. So from season 4 to 6, I was like in the trenches, right, with everyone, and waiting weekly for new episode. And honestly, I was waiting weekly, but I had to wait a day after the show aired because I could only watch the show on the MTV website because I didn't have cable. So that's basically the background. I have been watching this show for a very long time. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. You asked me what one of my favorite TV shows is. First answer is going to be Teen Wolf. Now, the second I found out that Dylan O'Brien was not going to be in this movie, I went, okay. And then we find out everything about Arden, and I went, Jeff Davis, what are you doing? What are you... Okay. And here's the thing, a disclaimer. When I'm shit-talking this movie, the only person I'm shit-talking is Jeff Davis. That's the only person anyone in the Teen Wolf fandom shit-talks. Like, we're not blaming anyone else, really. For the most part. We blame Jeff Davis because he is the creator, writer, and producer of the show and the movie. And if it's bad, it's literally because it's his fault. Who else's fault would it be? I went into this movie with no expectations. And the thing is that on TikTok, I was seeing a bunch of people, the reviews, like the day before the movie came out, they were like, this movie made me so mad. And I was like, these people went in with expectations. That's why they're mad. And like, they literally said, they were like, I didn't have any expectations and it still made me mad. Because that's literally me. The bar was on the floor. It was on the floor. The only hope that I had, you're gonna laugh at this if you've seen the movie, was that he didn't touch Stydia. You'll find out later on in the video what he did. This is a spoiler review of this movie. So if you haven't watched the movie, stop watching right now. Don't watch it. But here we go. I have categorized this movie into 4 different categories. One is positive things that I liked about this movie. Because, you know, there's so much bad about this movie, you need to find some things that were good. Then there's what the fuck moments, because actually this whole movie could be a what the fuck moment. Then there's rage-inducing moments. Yeah. And then there are tolerable moments. Tolerable times in the movie, you know, that I could like, oh, Teen Wolf, you know. So, let's get into it, shall we? The first positive thing, one of the only positive things about this movie was Eli Hale, Derek's son, and his relationship with Derek. For me, watching Eli on the screen was literally like watching Styles. Jeff Davis said copy and paste. Copy and paste character. Eli is sarcastic, witty, wears a flannel in every shot that he is in, is bad at lacrosse and is always on the bench, and then makes a shot and everyone's like, oh my god, slay Eli. I see right through you, Jeff Davis. And he's obsessed with the Jeep and needs to be driving the Jeep at all times. That's just Styles Stilinski reincarnated. I see right through you, Jeff Davis. And then I adored his character, but I loved his relationship with Derek even more. And I'm gonna get more into this by the end of the video, but that is the one thing that Teen Wolf for me is about. I can full-heartedly say that no one watches Teen Wolf for the plot. Maybe season 3, that's it. No one watches Teen Wolf because they like the plot. They watch it for the characters and the character dynamics and relationships. And Eli and Derek are the only characters in the movie that had a character dynamic and a relationship, father and son. It was so good. Derek's not even one of my favorite characters in the show, but he was one of my favorites in the movie. And it was just, that was really, really good. That was perfect. The writing was good for them. Everything was good there. The second positive thing is my Sheriff Stilinski. Sheriff Stilinski can do no wrong. One of my favorite characters in the show. He's great. He is obviously one of the characters that kept the spirit of Styles alive, because it's Styles' father. And he gives this speech at the end to Eli when Derek dies, and they're at his funeral, and the sheriff gives Eli a speech, and it did make me tear up. It did make me cry. So Sheriff Stilinski, I will always love you and you will always be famous. You're my favorite man ever. And then my third and final positive thing to say about this movie, which I think is going to be a bit controversial within the Teen Wolf fandom, because I was talking to different friends and gauging on the internet and like TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. I really liked Malia's character in the movie. I felt like Shelley Henning stepped right back into Malia and played her perfectly once again. And again, Malia, she was never like in my top favorite characters of the Teen Wolf show. I always thought that Jeff's writing for her was kind of lazy. And then towards the end, she became one of my favorites, but she was beyond perfect, and I really liked the delivery that she did. I thought it was really good. A lot of people said that like her character was kind of downgraded back to her season 4 self, but her character was one of the only characters that I was like, whenever she was on screen, I was like comfortable. I was like, ah, Malia, my girl, you know. I really loved Shelley's delivery. She did really well. Loved it. That being said, we are going to be segueing into our first what the fuck moment, and Malia is a part of it. Malia and Parrish. Scarred for life, I think, knowing that that scene exists in the world and that it was in that movie. Now, I did watch an interview. Shelley Henning did say that she wanted to be naked in the movie somewhere, and that Ryan, I think is the name of Parrish's actor, Ryan Kelly, I think, or is it Kelly Ryan? I can't remember. One of those names interchanged. They both said that they wanted to be naked so that they could like push themselves to work out for the movie. And then Jeff Davis took it as, okay, you two will be together. Okay, just, it wouldn't be Teen Wolf without an unwarranted sex scene of just people being naked. That's one thing Jeff Davis has always loved doing, just like having men and women be topless, and I'm like, what's going on? The ass slap. I didn't need it. I didn't need it. Yeah. Malia is also part of my second what the fuck moment. Let's just move past that. Malia and Scott, it's obvious by with Malia and Parrish that the two of them have broken up, right? Why did Malia and Scott break up? It's brought up for maybe 2 seconds when they come together after Lydia and Scott come together, and then Malia's like, this is awkward, and Scott's like, yeah, it is. Never brought up again. And then they're just fine for the rest of the movie. Okay. Hated that. Literally hated that. And then Malia is a part of a third what the fuck moment. So I'm assuming that the Hale Auto Shop is owned by her because she's one having sex in the office with Parrish. But like, why is it called Hale Auto Shop? It literally contradicts the Senior Scribe episode of season 5 where Malia puts her initials as MT, Malia Tate. Why is she running an auto shop called Hale Auto? Confusing, weird. Why? Not needed. Unnecessary. Anyways, what the fuck moment number 3, Liam Dunbar. What are you doing in the movie? What did you do? What's going on, Bebs? He was in Japan. First of all, we started the movie in Japan. Was not aware that we were in Japan. 100% unaware that we were in Japan. Why were there no, like, you know how in like Marvel movies and stuff, they literally put like in the bottom, they'll be like, oh, we're in Sokovia, whatever. Why didn't they do that with Teen Wolf? Tell us where the fuck they were. Anyways, he's in it. Liam is in the movie for about less than 10 seconds. He's in a relationship with Hikari, is what I'm learning her name is. I didn't know her name the entire time I watched the movie. Because I think they said it twice. I am so sorry. But yeah, he was in the movie for a whole 10 minutes. He speaks to Mason once, his best friend. And like, I was never a Liam stan, but like, the man forgot that he was a werewolf by the end. He was effectively replaced by Eli, because in that end shot where it's like Derek, Scott, and then Eli, it should be Liam, but he's not there. Liam Dunbar. Jeff, why did you do that? What the fuck moment number 4 is any scene with Allison. I was so excited for Allison. She's one of my favorite TV characters of all time. Love her so much. She is the love of my life. But I am so sorry. And I know this is fully, again, Jeff Davis's fault, but like, what was her writing? Her writing was really not good. I didn't like it. Like, the scene where Eli is like trying to get away from Allison and he goes to gas up his car, and then Allison finds him. And then he's running into the store and Allison's car just blows up. Okay. Didn't make any sense. I don't get it. And like, any scene where she is like pursuing any of the supernatural creatures, and by any I mean like Scott, Derek, or Eli, because apparently she's only going after the werewolves, she's just like calmly walking. She's just like, and I'm like, okay. So yeah, Allison's character just as a whole, I was like, What the fuck moment number 5 is just characters coming in and out of thin air. It happened with Argent, happened with Jackson, and happened with Peter. They just showed up. No announcement, no real arrival, they just show up. And I'm like, cool, okay. Like, Jackson just comes out from like the stairs. I'm pretty sure they're at Melissa's house. Jackson just comes walking downstairs. He's like, oh, it's Styles' fault, of course. That's why Lydia doesn't scream. Shut up. Like, Peter comes out of nowhere to cauterize Derek's slitted throat. Cool. Argent, like, pops out of nowhere with a gun pointed towards Scott. Okay. Yeah. I didn't like that they just popped out of nowhere. I was like, what? What the fuck moment number 6 is anything and everything to do with the Oni and the Nogitsune. Jeff Davis, you wrote season 3 and then you contradicted everything that you wrote in season 3 in this movie with something that you would, like, put to paper. For me, you can't pull from season 3 plot lines without the characters of Kira and Styles. Those two characters are what make season 3. Without Kira and her mom, season 3 and the plot of it would not exist. It would not exist. But you were like, once you found out that both Dylan and Arden weren't going to be in the movie, you still kept writing. What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, we know you only made this movie as a money grab. And you only made it season 3 focused because it's everyone's favorite. Anyways. And, like, everything to the point where it was like the Nogitsune always said you can't be a wolf and a fox at the same time. But Scott ended up being a wolf, and he somehow inherited Hikari's powers of the fox, and then the Nogitsune as a whole ended up being this, like, hairless werewolf. Okay. And then there's the moment with Argent, and he had a firefly in him. And it was never explained as to why he had the firefly in him, and it was never explained as to who else had a firefly in them, because Allison never had a firefly go in her to become the Nogitsune, to become the host. And then there's the parts where everyone was disappearing into clouds of smoke when the Nogitsune stabbed them through the back and the stomach, and then they just turned into a cloud of smoke and went somewhere else. But in season 3, when Allison was stabbed in the stomach, she died. You tried to mix season 6 and 3. Because the Ghost Riders, once the Ghost Riders, like, whipped you into shape, essentially, you would disappear into a cloud of smoke and you'd go somewhere else. That's the Ghost Rider storyline from season 6A. Sort of 6B. But you tried to do it with the Oni, didn't make any sense. You're stupid. You're stupid. That is sort of enough for most of the what the fuck moments that I could think of while I was writing this. Now we're gonna move on to the rageful moments. Are you ready for this? Are you ready? Because the first one is the Stydia breakup. I don't know why I ever thought Jeff Davis would not touch this couple in the movie. I don't know why I ever thought or had maybe a little bit of faith and hope in him. Like, what? Why? What did we do to you? You ruined everything. Jeffrey Davis, you ruined everything. And the thing is that before I even watched the movie, I got what the fate of Styles, like, spoiled to me, and I thought he died. Like, I thought he died in a car crash. And I came to terms with that faster than knowing that Styles and Lydia are broken up. I literally would rather Styles be dead than Lydia and Styles not be together at all. Are you listening to me clearly? Lord, have whatever. The story of, like, Lydia is like, I had a dream and I left him. Do you think Styles motherfucking Stilinski, if he sat down and had a conversation with Lydia, would let that happen? No. Like, there are no words. It's the stupidest thing of all time. It's the stupidest breakup reason of all time. I had a dream. And like everybody's like, now Lydia knows what it's like to like when Styles says, if you die I will go out of my mind. I don't care. I don't care because they're not supposed to be apart. Whatever. They didn't go through everything that they went through in 6 seasons. 6 seasons of a television show for them to whatever. Whatever. We gotta move past this because I will get angry. Number 2, Derek's death. Why? Makes no sense. And you really made him die in a fire. I don't know if Jeff Davis, if you did that on purpose, and if it was supposed to be symbolic, but like, hated that. Actually hated that. And like I said in the beginning, Derek was never my favorite character in the show. In fact, he was usually always at the bottom. But seeing him die and Eli having to watch.
It wouldn't break down and stay down.
Why am I crying over this? That was mean and uncalled for. And I don't even believe that he's dead because the amount of times other characters have died and just come back to life. Oh, for example, Allison Argent and Peter Hale. He died like every season and he came back to life. So I don't believe you that he's dead. This movie's also not canon for me, so let's just get that out of the way. And then my rageful moment number 2 is the entirety existence of Jackson Whitmore. Why is he in the movie? He was still horrible to Lydia, and every time he tried to be funny, I was like, shut up. Like, you're not funny. Like, you just sound stupid. Jackson Whitmore will always be one of my least favorite characters of all time. I don't understand his need to be in the movie. Because like I said, he wasn't even nice to Lydia. Like, he wasn't even there to be a crutch for Lydia. But anyways, let's get to the tolerable moments. The first tolerable moment was Scott and Lydia's reunion. Seeing Lydia crying, and they're hugging, and they were just so sweet, and I love their relationship in the shows as well. It was just lovely. It was beautiful to see that moment and reunion again, because I really love them. The tolerable moment number 2, and if anything, this would be in a positive moment. Anything that had to do with Coach. Coach is, again, one of my favorite characters on the show. He's funny as hell. He just knows how to read the room. He reads the room and he's like, you know what, people need to be laughing, and he does it. Orny Adams, you will always be famous, and I love you so much. Enjoyable moments number 3. Eli and Scott's relationship. Can I speak? Eli and Scott's relationship was really nice as well. I really liked the scene where they were like running from Allison, and I don't think they were like hiding behind the Jeep. They were hiding behind a different car, but like Eli's like, I can't change. He's like, I literally don't know how to be a werewolf. Nobody taught me, and my dad can't teach me because he's an Omega or whatever. Literally talking about this out loud as a 22-year-old woman. Girl. But Scott teaches Eli essentially how to like heal, how to just be a werewolf, and it was really sweet, and I was like, oh, love you, Scott. Enjoyable moments number 4. Most of the softer Scallison moments, Allison and Scott. And like, to me, even though Allison's character is a mess, when you put Allison and Scott together, of course it's always gonna be good. Of course it's always gonna be good. However, justice for Kira again, because when Scott's like, I've always been in love with you, I'm like, sir, you have had 2 girlfriends since Allison. We know you've loved her and you always will, but like, anyways, apparently that's my last enjoyable moment. I just want to say this movie as a whole, I'm not trying to, you know, be mean, you know, even though I sound very mean. But the thing is that it's not even like a good movie. Like, there's a lot of things that are wrong, like technically wrong with the movie. One of my biggest things with this movie, as well as just like not being good, is the sound editing. If y'all caught this in the movie, there's literally the scene where somehow Argent has the sword that killed Allison, which I don't understand, because once Void Styles died, all of the Oni disappeared, along with all of their weapons and stuff. Don't ask me how. Look, there's too many holes in the plot. But anyways, he has the sword, and it's in this like hard plastic case, right? And he slams it down on a metal table. He opens it and he flings it open. Doesn't make a single sound. It's on a metal table and it's hard plastic, and he flings it open and there's not a single sound that is emitted. And I was like, am I not hearing correctly? I actually rewound it, and yeah, there was no sound. And then there's my friend Leah brought up this part where Eli is trying to fight off Allison, in the part where like Allison, after the car blows up that I was talking about, Eli grabs like a wrench and it's in this bin of a bunch of other metal tools, and it doesn't make a single sound when he grabs it. It's so bad. It's bad. Like, it's not a good movie. Like, it's not. And like, here's the thing. A lot of people on TikTok and like the internet are like, you're not an OG fan if you didn't like the movie. Like, I love the movie and I'm an OG fan. And I'm like, if you are an OG fan and you've been here since season 1, you've been here since 2014 like me, you've been here since season 2, 3, 4, 5, hell, even 6, the beginning of season 6, and you watched weekly, and you like this movie, side eye. I'm giving you side eye, because the movie's not good. And a lot of people want to say that this movie was closure. We had a final season of the show. Like, the show ended. It wasn't canceled. It wasn't anything. It ended. The show ended. It was done. That was closure. This movie was not needed. So with all of that being said and done, I just have one last thing to say. And it's to piggyback off of what I was saying in the beginning. And it's that the only reason as a whole as to why Teen Wolf is still like alive and the fandom is still here is because of the characters, the character relationships, and the character dynamics in the show. Like, people watch the show for Scott and Styles, Lydia and Allison, Styles and Lydia, Scott and Isaac, Scott and Derek, Kira and Malia. Like, people only watch the show for character dynamics and characters. No one watches it for the plot. And what did this movie do? Took away all of those meaningful relationships. Took them away. Lydia and Allison hug once. Platonic soulmates, they hug once. The complete lack of thought that went into this movie, thought of the fans that went into this movie on Jeff Davis's part is outstanding. You know, like, this movie was never going to be for the fans. This movie was never fan service. The second we found out that both Dylan and Arden weren't going to be in the movie, but the movie was still going forward, automatically in my mind I was like, oh, this is just for Jeff Davis to have one last hurrah, because he has two things that keep him who he is, and that's Teen Wolf and Criminal Minds. What are the two things that came back this year? Teen Wolf the movie and the new Criminal Minds show. He failed, and he failed really, really hard with this movie to keep the fans happy. And like, I feel bad for the cast that was in the movie, because everything that came out before the movie, they did a bunch of behind the scenes work before the movie even came out, and the cast was so excited, and I was so excited to see the cast again. But Jeff Davis just did them really dirty. Like he always did. So, and one last thing is that for me personally, this movie is absolutely not canon. The reason why it's taken me this long also to speak about it is literally because it made me so angry. And if I tried talking about it on the Friday after the movie came out, it would not have been as concise as this, even though this was like not concise at all. Anyways, yeah, I think that about sums it up. Jeff Davis, you've ruined everything. Once again, we didn't need this movie. We didn't need this movie for anything. I'm glad I got to see these characters again and got to see them on my screen again. And doing the very little interacting that they did do, but you can have it back. I don't want it. But with that, I'm finally gonna go and I'm gonna eat these French fries that my younger brother gave me. Extra pickles. And he didn't save me any. Yeah, I'm gonna go.